And we are live. Hello and welcome everyone to another set from the King of Ireland tournament. I am Tech Chariot and I am bringing you Hannes77 versus Geo. These players are in the bronze division. Let's have a quick look at their seeding. So we got Relp77, not to be confused with Hannes77, who is down here. So Hannes77 versus Giovanni. So we're looking at 1344 and 1347 calculated tournament ELOs, both from the silver division. So these players are neck and neck in ELO. Let's take a look at their Civ draft. So Geo with the Persians, Khmer, Berbers, Italians, Japanese, Bulgarians, Magyars, and Byzantines versus Hannes77 having selected the Malians, the Franks, the Spanish, the Lithuanians, the Britons, the Indians, Mongols, and Poles. So Geo sniping the Spanish from Hannes77, the ultimate troll civ, and Hannes77 sniping Berbers, who are known for their monstrous cavalry, their cavalry swarm. So game one of every set is Irish Arabia, so let's get to it. In the north, in the blue, we have Hannes77 playing as the Franks. And we have Geo in the south playing as the green Magyars. So let us examine the maps. Geo has a side gold, a side stone, no real resources forward. He's got berries in the back, so Geo has a decent map here, I would say. What makes this map really good, though, is the fact that this gold is easily wallable. So Geo could wall to the edge of the map here, he could wall to the edge of the map over here, and he could, at the very least, have an extremely back gold. Hannes77 has forward stone and side berries, but his main gold is quite back, and that's very nice. If Hannes77 walls to the edge of the map here, which is a little bit of a wall off, but if he makes it, then he's got lots of wood and gold in the back that are secure. What do you mean, what happened, JC? I ended the broadcast. This is a new set. You can't lump in Geo and Hannes77 with Sorrentine and Alfonso. They're completely different animals. So Hannes77 is beginning the deer push-in. So we'll see what these players make of Irish Arabia. These players are in the 1300s. They're around my level. So we will see what they can do because it'll be interesting. I was always curious what I could achieve in this tournament. And so I like watching the silver division because it gives me an idea of what I could do. I sit here and I talk about how these players in the platinum division and gold division are making all these mistakes. The reality is those players would smoke me on these maps. Although I did make the maps, so I have a little bit of an advantage. And of course I'm omnipotent, given that I can see everything that's going on the map here. Your stream dropped suddenly, and you dropped. You mean in this broadcast? Okay, so we got two houses up for Geo. Classic. Has not really built them. He built them right next to each other, which is kind of interesting. He's bringing his boar in now. We have 3 on wood for Geo. How many on wood do we have for Hannes77? We have 2 on wood for Hannes77 right now. So 3 on wood for Geo is telling me that he is probably going to go scouts. He is putting that boar down. Got another guy going out here in the middle of nowhere. Okay, no, he's building a house, so that is intentional. So Geo is already going to start walling off the front here. I think this is smart. The map is pretty easy to wall. Irish Arabia is different from traditional Arabia in that the wood lines are more numerous, but they are also smaller and thinner. So they can be ranged by archers easily enough. Geo getting loom early. It's kind of an interesting choice. The last game stream just stopped and you dropped offline. I honestly don't know what you mean by that. This is the first game of this set. This is the first game of this stream. So Geo getting loom early is going to hurt his scout's uptime. It puts you a villager behind, and that one villager is more important when you have fewer villagers working. Geo luring in this boar and pushing deer. Maybe the reason that Geo got loom early was because he was coming out here to wall, and he didn't want to take any chances with his opponent getting lucky and picking off a villager. That would be my guess. He wasn't housed. Okay, he is going to bring in this boar, and he's also going to shoot this deer. There he goes. So he's got some food under his town center. Yes, it was the last set. So each set gets its own video, JC. That's how it works. So Hannes77 bringing in his boar. And we are tied at 18 pop. Both players have around 10 seconds of TC idle time. Hannes77 with 15 and Geo with 9. So Hannes77 has found Geo. He knows where he is. Discovered the houses. I don't know if he's discovered... Yeah, he hasn't discovered much more than that. He's got an idea of where Geo would be walling, I suppose. Across here, possibly. Hannes77 is going to get Loom with 20 pop. And he can force drop off some meat from this boar. Almost there, and then he'll click up to the Feudal Age. So this is 20 pop scouts from Hannes77. So Geo has found Hannes77 as well. Let's change to Geo's perspective here. So Geo just found the house. He's guessing that the town center is over here somewhere, and the curvature of this wood line would suggest that. So Geo being very careful not to run into the town center arrow fire. Finds the berries. Oh, interesting. You don't see the video on demand. I have no explanation for that. Sometimes it takes a little while to upload and solidify all of that. I didn't do anything different, though. Alright, so Geo is on his way to the Feudal Age as well. Geo is doing 21 pop scouts, and Hannes77 is doing 20 pop scouts. So the Magyars don't really get an eco bonus in Dark Age, so it's a little bit easier for Franks to pull off a faster uptime. And with scouts, you need all that speed you can get, because these wood lines are very easy to wall off. But these Magyar scouts get the attack upgrades for free. So Hannes77 is Feudal Age. His scout is much more powerful than Geo's scout now, especially considering that Geo still managed to take some damage. And Geo's scout's is stable, so he knows Hannes77 is going Feudal Age. You saw the villager standing there. He's like, what are you waiting to build? Sees the stable and then gives him some distance. So Geo is now Feudal Age. His scout has 5+1 attack. Scouts go from 3 to 5 attack once they hit the Feudal Age. And then this +1 is because Magyars get forging for free. So the stable is up for Geo. Both players getting their eco upgrades, except Hannes77, of course, who does not have to get Horse Collie because Franks get it for free. And now Geo can queue some scouts up. So we're going to have a scout war here from these players. I wonder if both these players kind of had a gentleman's agreement. We're not going to wall our bases. Although they are electing for small walls. Looks like Hannes77 is going to wall diagonally to this wood line, which is an interesting choice. I guess it's a little bit cheaper than walling across here. Not as good in my opinion. And he needs to build a palisade right here. This is still open. There we go, so our house. Alright, that works. So Hannes77 with 3 scouts now on the field. Geo has not walled his resources. He's getting defensive spearmen. My internet is acting up. It's possible it cut out for me right at the end. Oh, it's possible. So Geo headed across the map with scouts. Hannes77 headed toward Geo's base with scouts. Hannes77 is closer to Geo than Geo is to Hannes77 right now, but honestly, it's not going to make much of a difference. So Hannes77 is... He's got a spearman out on his berries. Does he have another one on his wood line? Not yet. Both of these players are playing this kind of like traditional Arabia, but Hannes77 is... I don't know what he's waiting for. He's been lurking around this area for quite some time. Just go in, dude. Go in, kill something. So Geo here, finding a fight. He loses a scout to the spearman, but what are these villagers doing? These spearmen were going back, and Geo gets a villager kill from that. I don't get this at all. This was totally not necessary. Alright, so Geo pulling back. He has gotten 1 villager kill on Hannes77. Hannes77 in turn needs to do some damage. It's going to... Come on, ambush that. Ambush him. Get him. Got him. Nice. Going to pick a fight with Geo's scout here. Loses 2 scouts of his own. That's not a very good exchange. Kind of unfortunate micro. He probably could have picked off a villager before even having to fight those military units. But both players have kind of lost their scouts. Sort of interestingly enough, Hannes77 has walled his lumberjacks in. He did not find his sheep back here, which is unfortunate. He'll find them later. So he's finished taking all the berries. Franks take berries faster. And he does have his defensive spearmen waiting. These scouts are going home. I don't understand that. Okay, as Geo is pushing out across the map, Geo has some spearmen that he is sending forward and some scouts. So Hannes77 is going to need some skirmishers to deal with that. In terms of resources, how are they looking? Well, both players have between 200 and 400. This is what a weird wall, huh? Come on. What the heck is this? So, okay, so this looks a lot better. I guess this is kind of open, maybe difficult to wall here. And he already gave away this part. But Hannes77 is not going to be able to wall this. Geo's going to find this villager. The villager goes down. These spearmen are in, and Hannes77 will not be able to contest this area with these spearmen present. Scouts are just too squishy. They do not like spearmen at all. And these scouts are getting another villager kill. Oh my goodness. This is a disaster for Hannes77. And it's totally not necessary either. He could have walled this up by now easily. Scouts are... Okay, he's got spearmen fighting spearmen now. It's going to take forever for that to be resolved. Because the health of spearmen is large compared to their attack. Hannes77 wants to fight Geo's scouts and then just have enemy spearmen just wandering through his base, not being able to do any damage. But the military control has been really good from Geo. He's been able to pick good fights. Hannes77 chasing these spearmen, or chasing these scouts with a spearman of his own. Yeah, this is so stressful. I would have just walled a long time ago. I do not like this kind of stuff. Like, it would give me a heart attack. Having my scouts always wandering around, trying to mic them around, fight other scouts. I know it's entertaining for the viewers, but gosh, it's really hard on me as a player. John CZ3 says the villagers drank a little too much. I guess so. So both players are sort of just saving for the Castle Age. Hannes77 doesn't have the food, and Geo doesn't have the gold. They're both going to click up pretty soon, though. I believe that this has been fully walled now. Hannes77 has a villager here that's just sort of waiting. But Geo with a lot more town center idle time than Hannes77. That's why, despite these villager losses, Geo and Hans actually have the same number of villagers. And Hans' scouts have gone down. And now Geo's scouts are free to just pick off villagers here. These are Magyar scouts. They're no joke. They pick off villagers faster. And Hannes77 is just going to send this scout to his death into those spearmen. He's going to get doinked. I don't understand how anybody plays like this. Man, it's so stressful watching this. But hopefully you guys are entertained. So Hans and Geo are both on their way to the Castle Age. Hans is about 25 to 30 seconds behind Geo, it looks like. Oh gosh, come on, man. Just give the farms up already. Send them to do something else, like wall this in and go on gold, and then save up gold for knights and then clear this out. This is so stressful. Just feed spearmen piecemeal into these other spearmen, one at a time. Just not working. Keeps on trying to make a scout to peck off these other low HP scouts, and Geo keeps on coming over and picking on Hans' villagers. Trying to find a low HP villager to doink. Here's one right here. He has 1 hit point. Can Geo get him? So Geo gonna work on that house? Nope. I don't know how many spearmen. Okay, finally. Hannes77 gets that scout with his own spearmen. It only cost him like 3 or 4 spearmen to do it. Man, Geo's been a real nuisance in here for Hans. So let's see what Geo's got going on at home. He's got 2 stables as he gets feudal age. And knights immediately in queue. The armor is going to be in queue. Getting his eco upgrades. So I don't think Geo intends to boom here. Hans is about to hit the next age as well. He is building a 3rd stable. So yeah, these guys are going to go. These guys are going to do a big cavalry battle here. Now, Hans will get extra health on his knights because of Franks. And Geo will get that attack advantage early on. So after Hans gets the attack upgrades for his cavalry, his knights will be superior to Geo's in every way. So Geo wants to take advantage of the fact that his attack upgrades are free and come across and see if he can do some damage. Okay, so Hans is going to build another town center back here. On the wood line, on the sheep. I don't know that I agree with building a second town center. I think 2 town centers and 3 stables is just super hard to maintain production from. You're not going to be able to maintain production from 3 stables and 2 town centers. You can do one town center and 3 stables, or you can do 3 town centers and 1 stable. But 2 town centers and 3 stables is going to be tough. I guess you could do 2 stable and 2 TC, and that's what Geo is going to do here. Yo-Yo Dude says Magyars should win the Night War. Hello and welcome. I think Magyars win the Night War initially until Franks get their attack upgrades. But you could look at it in a way of the Magyars getting these attack upgrades for free is like negating the armor upgrades that you get for your units. Franks can't deal with Magyar, CA, and Imp. It is harder because they're missing Bracer. Needs a bit of an all-in. I do agree with that, though. I think that Hannes77 would be better off castle dropping Geo and then going Imp quickly or something like that. I do agree that Magyars have better options than Franks. Generally in the late game. If the map is open like this, which it is. If the map were closed, the Franks could build a million castles and drop them on top of each other and make throwing axemen and siege, pike siege, and cavalry archers are not going to be able to respond to that. But given how open the map is, Geo could absolutely raid Hans to death with cav archers if Hans is not careful. But Hans expanding out the back here. He's heavily on his gold. He's on this wood back here. And he is building Knight Mass. So he opened this up to send his spearmen out, and now he's closing it up again. So I'm not sure if... Let's see, has he gotten the armor yet? No, he has not. He has not gotten the armor. We've got a monastery coming up for Hans. So I don't know what... It doesn't look like he's planning on producing from all these stables. He just wanted to have them in case he needed to produce from them. But I think Hans is more interested in building up his economy and getting relics. So Geo is going to add a 3rd town center. We still have knights being produced from both stables. Now each stable making knights needs 7 villagers on gold, and Geo only has 10. So Geo is not going to be able to afford... Oh, he only has 2 stables. Sorry, Geo is not going to be able to afford knight production from both of these stables. Geo has also built a monastery. So they both have a Knight Mass. They both just want to boom. They've built at least 1 more stable than probably they need at the moment, but I think they're both kind of afraid of the other one being super aggressive and going all in, so they have these extra production buildings. That's what I think is going on here, if I had to guess. So maybe Hannes77 just wants to boom into Paladin. Maybe that's all he wants as a Frank player. Maybe he's just one of those guys, those Frank pickers that just want to boom into Paladin and then win. And Paladins are indeed a very powerful unit. Okay, so Geo's decided to move out. He's got 20 knights. 20 knights within 30 minutes. Hannes77 is getting Wheelbarrow. It's a little bit late for Wheelbarrow, but we'll take it. Picks off this Spearman quite easily. But at least Hannes77 knows what Geo is up to now. Knows Geo is on his way over. And Hannes77 is outnumbered. He only has 13 knights. He, however, does have 2 monks, and that could be quite decisive. He's got 3 monks, actually. And Geo is fleeing. So he could convert 3 units here, and it could go from 20 versus 13 to 17 versus 14. So it could definitely swing the tide of battle. And these monks can also heal up Hans's knights as well. So both players are kind of at a standstill there. Let's take a look at villager counts. Geo has about 12 villagers on Hannes77. Geo is on 3 town centers, though. Hannes77 just built his 3rd over here. In terms of idle time, Hannes77 actually has less than Geo does. Probably because he's only had to manage 2 town centers. Han77 now open back here. Geo's going to scout that. As to whether or not Geo chooses to raid it, though... Oh, okay, Geo does choose to raid it. He's got 2 scouts coming up here. There can only be one reason for that. But if he's going to raid, he should get light cav, so I don't really... Alright, he is going to raid. He's picking on a villager, and Han77 has some knights back here to clean this up. Okay, so villager does go down for Han77. Geo doing a good job booming. He's picking up relics. He's got 1 relic right now, bringing another in from the left. And what's Han77 doing for relics? How many relics does Han77 have? None yet. Han77 is heavily on stone, though. So this is telling me he is planning some Frank castles. Frank castles are cheap. They are a great defensive unit. You can build them all over the map to secure your economy from raids. So I definitely think Franks are a solid pick for this map. But then again, Franks are a solid pick for every map, so I wouldn't worry too much about that. But the other civ that I've seen a lot on this map is Bulgarians. Not a lot, but I've seen it on this map and I've really liked it a lot, are Bulgarians. Not for their castles, but for their creposts. Just dotted. Because this map is so open. It's so easy to raid this map. Oh my goodness. Geo has decided to dive Han77 Town Center. There are not that many... Oh, there are 9 villagers inside of it, actually. So Han77 is going to need to get over here with his knights. Here he comes. Geo looking to kill some villagers. And a big knight fight here. Han77 getting some conversions in, or trying to. Got some Lulu action on 3 knights here. Converts 1, 2, and 3. Now, do these knights have the armor? No, they do not. No wonder they're getting butchered. I agree. Han77 forgetting the armor for his cavalry and then losing probably 800 to 1,000 resources, food and gold, in this battle. So this was a very, very bad battle. This is probably the battle that ends the game for him, but we'll see what he does. So Geo feeling confident, though, going to drop a castle here. Fully upgraded knights versus castle age knights. Agreed. So Han77 is back down to 74 villagers, and Geo has boomed up to 100 vills. But Han77 is on his way to the Imperial Age, and Geo is not. Geo is quite close, though. So Geo will be clicking up any second now. And with this castle, he'll be able to make trebuchets and start knocking his opponent's buildings over. So Han77 coming out here to build a very bad castle. This castle is a terrible idea. You have no military, you have no map control. You should be stonewalling and housewalling like crazy behind these palisades, because your opponent has 28 knights and you have 1. So if Han77 wanted to, or if Geo wanted to, he could totally come over here and deny this castle if he knew about it. It's only being built by 9 villagers. But luckily for Han77, Geo did not scout this, so therefore this castle will go up. But it's a very risky castle, and against another more skilled player, probably would have seen it. So Geo's going to wonder, well, how did that castle get there? So he's just going to go back to taking this stone. And you know what? Geo could actually dive this castle. I don't think Han77 has murder halls. He has no university. So Han77 building another stable. This castle could start working on these buildings to try to get in. Okay, and Geo is going to drop the castle here and take this gold instead. So Han77 reaches Imperial Age. He queues up a trebuchet immediately. That's smart, except these knights are just going to dive that trebuchet, even if he trebs from the safety of his own castle. What's the plan for Han77? What does he have? Okay, he's rebuilding his knight mass. He's got 1 knight in queue. He is getting iron casting. Where's the armor? There's still no armor. Geo's knights, Geo's Imperial Age, or Geo will be an Imperial Age, and these knights will have +4. So Han's forgetting this armor upgrade, and it's really hurting him. I don't maybe he's going to look back on this and say, oh man, I forgot the armor. What was I thinking? Okay, so this trebuchet is going to attack this castle. These knights are going to come straight over here and dive this. Watch. So this is where Geo is going to take the fight. No? Alright, make a liar out of me. He's not going to dive this. I totally would have dived that. I would have said, no way am I taking unnecessary damage. Maybe he's just waiting for Imp to come in and get upgrades. So he says, I'll spend the stone, and then I'll get the upgrades I need, and then I'll take even better fights when I'm in Imperial Age. Okay, he dives the trebuchet now. Clears it up. These knights now have +4. It's a big power spike for him, and this should be pretty over. So Geo is rich. He's got 2k food, almost 2k gold. He's getting Cavalier. He's getting plate barding armor now. He does not need to get the attack because he gets it for free. And Hannes77 now finally getting chain barding armor and Cavalier. Probably realizing he couldn't get plate barding armor because he needs chain barding armor first. But this night battle is going to be over before Hannes77's upgrades come in. Hannes77 though, sticking it through. Geo diving this trebuchet and dropping another castle, creeping forward on Hannes77. I'm surprised Hannes77 has lasted this long. Alright, he calls the GG. Missing that armor just absolutely killed him. I think if he had that armor early, this would have been a pretty different game. He would have cleaned up Geo's knights and then been able to push out across the map. But Geo showing us what his macro can do. That was a pretty decisive win, I would say. Geo boomed up to 120 pop, or 120 villagers. Both players going for the knight approach, but Geo just doing it a little bit better. So let's take a look at the second game and see what these players have got. So the second is Nomad. This is Hannes77's home map. We will make sure that we give Geo a win here. Don't forget to use the scoreboard. And, alright, so we have Geo as the Persians and Hannes77 as the Britons. Britons are an interesting choice. This is a version of Irish Nomad that is landlocked on this side and on this side. So that means that if you dock over here, your opponent cannot threaten your fishing economy unless your opponent also docks over here. And Hannes77 putting up a dock now. And Geo building his house over here, but he's got to wait for this really fat, slow cow to get out of the way.
Mandatum?
Okay, Hannes77 is still looking for a place to build this town center. This would be a good spot right here. And he picks it. Yeah, you don't want to wait around too long. The trees on Irish Nomad have 350 wood in them apiece, but the bushes only have 50 because the bushes are small. Now you start with a transport ship. Doesn't look like Hans is using his yet, nor is Geo using his. His Geo docking. He is. So these players are docked on the same side of this landlocked Nomad. And we'll see what they make of it. You build one house. If you build one house, you should be able to afford a fishing ship immediately. And indeed he can. But since he's Persians, he gets 50 extra wood beyond that. So the Britons have already got their fishing ship out. They've got their dock. They've got their town center. And no, it's not easy to find a TC spot. He's right. So Geo is going to get his TC up just now, and Hannes77 is about to get his TC up. Okay, so villagers queued up. Where is the house for Hans? He built one somewhere. Alright, he built one over here. Just to give himself some vision.
Yay.
Scouting around with a villager, finding some sheep. There are a lot of sheep on this map, so Britons could be really helpful. They take sheep quicker. John CZ3 says, hey, that cow does not appreciate your insulting commentary toward it. And Well, what's he going to do? Form some kind of society and come after me? Get me canceled on YouTube for being offensive and insensitive to the cow community? Unless I apologize. Yeah, fat chance. Alright, so let's see here. How are we doing on fishing ships? Geo should be... Yeah, so Geo's just about to finish his second fishing ship. Hans will probably be a little bit behind. He has not queued up his next fishing ship yet, so Persians still have a little bit of an advantage there. But Hans building some houses, maybe that he doesn't need right now. He's got 15 population space. Is either player scouting with their transport ship? No, they are not. Transport ship is just taking up population space for them, unfortunately. Okay, Hannes77 has queued another fishing ship finally. Geo has 3 fishing ships out already, so he does have an advantage. Demand that I become a vegetarian? Yeah, that's not happening either.
Grayton, mandatum.
I don't mind becoming a vegetarian as long as I can still eat meat. What do we got? We got... Alright, so Geo bringing in a boar over here. Getting loom is Geo... Don't tell me... No, Geo's just getting loom early to make the boar luring easier. He's got nowhere near the food he needs to click up. Which makes sense because he's only got 16 pop here. So Geo with 4 fishing ships and building a 5th. Hannes77 with 2 fishing ships building a 3rd.
Ready.
So Hannes77, what's he doing? He's coming out looking for more sheep maybe, or exploring the map. Let's see what Geo knows, because Nomad is always interesting about what players know. So technically Geo does not know where Hannes77 is. He's got a pretty good idea of the map. He knows that this is black and empty. So maybe he's thinking his opponent's over here, or maybe even down here. Probably not down here, though, because it's hard to build down here. Or maybe his opponent is literally right here. Geo did scout his opponent's dock here. So maybe he says, I want to lure this boar in so that I can deny that boar from my opponent. So meanwhile, let's see what Hannes77 knows. So Hannes77 does not know where Geo's dock is, which is all the way up here. And he does not know where Geo's town center is, which is up here. Although, if he's watching the minimap, he could see this boar fighting something in this location and then figure it out. But there's not a good chance of that because he'd have to be looking at the exact place at the exact time. So Hannes77 finishing loom himself. Probably going to bring some boars in after that. He is continuing to add a fishing ship. He's going to add one more fishing ship. Is he going to add another one behind that? So he has 5 fishing ships total. And let's see how invested Geo is on water. Geo has 6 fishing ships total. It's building a 7th. So maybe Hans isn't going to go too heavily on water. Maybe he'll just let Geo take it out. Just take advantage of a little bit of fish boom. You want to micro your fishing ships so that they take the deep fish. And they don't worry about the shore fish. But he's taking all the sheep here. Many sheep as he can. He's taking the boar. Hannes77 is really close to clicking up. Oh no, don't queue this villager. Force drop off and click up. Then you can make fire ships and sink your enemy's fish. We have a transport ship. Well, to be fair, Geo didn't know about it either. But since Hans told him, Geo's going to use it now, which is kind of funny. So where's Geo's transport? Okay, so we found Geo's transport. It's headed down this way. Scout the relics. And Hannes77 is coming around. First thing that Geo's going to try to do is figure out, is it landlocked down here? And the answer is yes. So all the relics are on these little islands off the shore. So you need that transport to make monks to go and snag those relics. I guess you could build your own transport, but it just is a bigger wood investment. The transport is also nice because you can land units behind enemy walls, you can land villagers to build buildings, or you can land like conquistadors or something. And of course you can scout it, but the thing about that transport is it only has one line of sight. So it is not very good at exploring at all. Because more than one line of sight would be kind of overpowered for a Dark Age unit. And you do get it starting in Dark Age. So Geo is advancing to has advanced to the Feudal Age. What's next? Where are the fire ships? Okay. Geo is already queuing fire galleys. He knows that Han77 is on the same side as him. Let's see if Han77 knows where Geo's dock is. He does not. So these fire ships are going to catch him off guard. He's probably going to assume that Geo's dock is on the opposite side. That is not true. So Han77, though, finding Geo's houses. So Han77 is going to see a line of houses here and know that that's where his opponent is. Han77 is on his way to the Feudal Age. Just needs a little bit more gold. He's taking it here. And then he will be able to click up to the Castle Age. Maybe go FC crossbows or something. Geo doesn't have much in the way of military. It is Nomad, after all. Most players tend to FC on Nomad. Not always, but much of the time. So as both players' transport ships are going to practically run into each other up here. They're not going to see each other. But if their line of sight were longer, they would. So Han77 has scouted Geo's dock. And so now he knows where the fire ships will be coming from. Speaking of fire ships, where are Geo's fire ships? There's one. Alright, it's coming in now. There's 1, 2, 3. So there are 3 fire ships on their way, and Geo is making a 4th. So Han77 is at 5 fishing ships. He's not going to make more. I don't even know if he's going to contest water, honestly. No, he is. Alright, he's going to make a fire galley and a demolition raft. Market Blacksmith coming up for Han77. Geo's eco is a little bit off. I'm not sure. Geo had more fishing ships. He even built a second dock. So I'm not really sure why Han77 has more than Geo does. It could just be because of those insane Britain shepherds taking meat from sheep so quickly. Despite Geo having at least 2 to 3 fishing ship advantage over Han77, but Han77 running his fishing ships to the corner. Is he still going to make... I think this is... I don't know. I don't know if it's worth fighting over this at this point. It's 3 fishing ships. He knows he can't go anywhere near his dock. Geo's camping this with 4 galleys. 4 fire galleys. So Geo building a stable and a blacksmith. So Geo looking to do knights once he's in Castle Age. For Persians, their knights get +2 bonus damage against archers, so it's very good, very effective against Britons. But Geo has not clicked up yet. He needs these buildings to complete, and then Geo will click up. There we go. So Geo with 32 seconds of Town Center idle time, and Han77 with 44. So double ranges from Han77 as he is nearing the Castle Age. So he is getting archer armor, but he is not getting fletching. What is going on here? Why? Fletching is super important. It's the most important. Get fletching, dude. Now, the good news is he does have enough on gold to sustain ranged unit production from 2 ranges. To sustain archer production, I should say. And does he know his opponent's gold is right here? No, he does not. But if he came over here with some Briton archers that have a long line of sight, he could find it pretty easily. So if he can take Geo off of gold, and maybe Geo only makes like 3 or 4 knights, and he makes a couple spearmen and 6 archers, I could see that working against Geo for now. But crossbow is coming in first, and no fletching and no bodkin, which makes me kind of sad. Geo building a second stable. Han77 is going to see it, try to deny it here. These archers have terrible attack, 5+0. So he sees the gold. Geo's going to rush up this stable with villagers, and because he doesn't have any of the range upgrades, he's just getting them now. Geo's going to successfully complete this. If I'm Han77 and I see Geo hit Castle Age and have 2 stables, which he knows that Geo... No, he only sees 1. Now he's going to see... Come on, see 2. Now he sees 2. Alright. I get out of here. I queue pikemen immediately. I sell a little bit of wood and I queue pikemen immediately. Because Persian knights are going to wreck this. There's no amount of good archer micro that is going to be able to deal with this. Geo's got more knights in queue. These knights are absolutely going to destroy these archers. He's built a siege workshop, but it's a little bit premature because he can't even keep an archer mass out. So we've got a defensive monastery coming up. So Geo is pushing this back. Hannes77 has built a second town center, though. I like this town center, and the reason I like this town center is because it kind of like closes off the map, right? It gives Hannes77 control over this gold, these berries, this boar, and this tree patch here. And it gives Geo like one more thing he's got to go through to get to Hannes77's original main base, which is over here. So apparently there was a fight over here, and Hannes77 died. Looks like there was a demo shot, a fire galley got destroyed, or maybe not destroyed, but damaged. And Hannes77 has 4 deadweight fishing ships over here. Okay, this siege workshop is going down. Geo is tearing it down. He has only the feudal age upgrades on these knights, but he is building his knight mass. Geo continuing to build docks along the coast and getting gill nets to improve the efficiency of his fishing ships. There is a monk here. The knights have to get away. Is this scout going to try to dive the monk? No, monk's going to hop in the town center. So this siege workshop is going to go down. Did not make any units. And now these knights are going to go look for damage. Geo is down here taking gold. His opponent's built a house down here. He is going to get in on his opponent's wood line and gold. This is going to be devastating. Hannes77 taking that knight down, but he needs to answer this. This could be 10 dead villagers easily right here. Geo has killed 12 economy so far. Some of that was fishing ships. It's gone up to 15 for Geo. So this is GG. Geo has 52 villagers to Hannes27. And the thing was, is Hans could have walled this too. He could have walled right across here. Could have walled in his town. But he didn't. He did build a good town center here. I like that, but so many villagers go down. I don't know how Hans recovers from this. He has nothing on food, and he has 11 on food now. 0 on food. He's building farms. He has 11 food in and of itself. Let's say. So these knights are chopping away at the crossbows. Okay, oh, Hans, nice. Hans gets a conversion here. These knights still have feudal age upgrades. They do not even have the second armor. The players are pretty close together, all things considering, that this town center is so close to this other town center. So Geo needs to get the second armor so that he can fight all this very comfortably. And Hans needs to get Bodkin. So both these players missing upgrades, and kind of ironically, the lack of Bodkin for Hannes77 is made up for by the fact that Geo does not have the second armor on his knights yet. He's getting it now, though. Geo on the prowl. It's 20 military to 18. Hans has 31 villagers to Geo's 62. I mean, that's Siege Monk Rush villager ratio right there. Hannes77 getting a conversion, taking down one of Geo's knights, but these archers are not going to reach these knights in time to do any damage. There's knights here and here. I think Geo is going to look for a surround at some point. He has enough knights to take on these archers pretty easily. And Hannes77 calls the GG. He sees the number of knights out there and feels, I can't stop that. Wrong strat on this map. You generally don't see archers on a nomad map. It's kind of a strange choice. I mean, maybe you do. Should have even had a look before. Geo says lots of fish. Yeah, Geo really benefiting from the fish here. He even built docks on the left-hand side, was taking fish over here too. Was Gio even farming?
Salam.
Nope. So we really appreciate Hannes77 signing up for the King of Ireland tournament. These maps are hard. It's not easy. And we really respect the fact that he signed up for and said, I'm going to give this new thing a try. But we will have to say farewell to him. Gio just outplaying Hannes77, building up a better economy and keeping it safe in both games. So Gio has demonstrated he loves his knights, his knight play, power unit. So with that, we are going to end the stream here. We congratulate Gio for moving on to the quarterfinals. He will be up against Zagaluk, I believe. Yeah, so Gio will be up against Zagaluk in the next round. So it'll be interesting to see these two players in action fighting each other. Zagaluk's pretty high, though. I think he's upper 1300s and maybe even in the 1400s at this point now. So it'll be interesting to see what happens there. It'll be a big challenge for Gio, certainly. I know I would struggle against Zagaluk. And so we'll leave it at that. Thanks, guys, and hopefully I will see you again soon.